everyone to the 2004 Emerald Bowl. It's the New Mexico Lobos taking on the midshipmen of Navy. We have just gotten started moments ago. First possession for either team. The New Mexico Lobos have already registered one first down. They're looking for another one. Dontrell Moore on a little catch shot in the backfield alongside Andre Ware with Dave Revson. I am Eric Collins. These two schools have never met before on the football field, but there's a lot on the line today. Navy with a chance for their first 10-win season since 1905. New Mexico looking for their first bowl win since 1961.
Yeah, and early in this football game, you expect New Mexico to come out running the football. They have taken a different approach early. Cole McCamey, 47% passer, is just slinging it all over the park early.
Looking for their second consecutive first down, and they're going to get it. McCamey tucks it under the elbow and gets 9 yards and another first down. So the chains move for the New Mexico Lobos. Good opening drive for the troops from Albuquerque. There's Paul Johnson, now in his third season on the sidelines for the Navy midshipmen.
Has really resurrected this program. The kids have bought in both to the system on offense and defense. Recruiting is up at the Naval Academy. It's a very, very bright future for that man right there, Paul Johnson, and his football program.
For the 2 years before Paul Johnson took over the Navy football program, they won just one game. Now they have a chance for a 10-win season. Let's take a look at the Nexium starting lineups for both teams. New Mexico on offense, backs and receivers. Well, the big play guys are Dontrell Moore coming out of the backfield. He's already the Mountain West all-time leading rusher. And Hank Baskett, another product of New Mexico. He is a wonderful leaper and a great athlete on the outside. These offensive linemen, Andre, are huge. They average 319 pounds a man.
Yeah, and up front for Navy, just 260 on the defensive line. So you look for New Mexico at some point to just go right at this, Navy defense.
Second down and 9. McCamey again wants to throw, and this time he's pressured. Has to escape pressure down the left side, and a big gainer before he's slipped and slips and falls after a gain of 12. That's going to be a big factor the entire game, Andre. The weather over the last couple of days has been grisly.
Yeah, it really has. He had tremendous pressure from Babatunde Akínbíyì, who there almost comes up with a huge tackle. Lane Jackson had him as well, and then all of a sudden, Cole McCamey is out and around the edge, and he is an excellent runner. He rushed for a bunch of yards, has thrown for over 1,000. Not really known as a passer, he's more of a runner, so it doesn't surprise me. Once he breaks out of the pocket, he can make plays with his legs.
On this drive, McCamey is accounted for 50 yards, 29 passing, 21 rushing. Dontrell Moore, another touch. He's inside the 20, close to another first down for the Lobos. Take a look at the defense, the way they line up for the Navy midshipmen. Up front, not very big. We mentioned that before, but they are active. They'll have to try and shoot the gaps and try and create havoc any way they can. The strength of the defense is in the linebacking core. Bobby McLaren, Lane Jackson, both exceptional, fundamentally sound players. David Mahoney, he is the wild card. He's the blitzer, and he's very active. In the backfield, Josh Smith, he's been all everything for this program. For the third consecutive year, he's going to lead the team in tackles. Second down and 2. Wonderful opening drive for New Mexico. This is their 10th play. Dontrell Moore, another carry, and he's going to get another first down for the Lobos.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that he's gone over 1,000 yards 3 consecutive years. And you had to know at some point they were going to put the football in his hands. They hit him on a check down. He's the guy. When they're going to go places on offense, Dontrell Moore is the guy that's going to lead that New Mexico football team.
Andre, before this game began, you mentioned that Navy should be worried because of the quality of this field right now. It's soggy right now.
It is, and you talk about leverage and big guys leaning on you for 4 quarters. New Mexico, they have gone to that formation right now. It looks like they just want to go right at this Navy defense.
First down carry, flag flies. Dontrell Moore spun down close to the line of scrimmage by David Mahoney. Flags have been the only thing that have stopped the Lobos so far in this opening drive.
And we talked about Navy being undersized, but you know what, Eric? They've been undersized all year long, and they've responded with 9 wins for this football season. So they're used to lining up and teams being bigger than them. They will, but when you talk about the conditions You don't know when it's going to start raining. It certainly looks as though it may start at any minute back in this football game. I think early you establish yourself, get ahead, and then all of a sudden you just let things.
Illegal motion on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still first down.
That is the third penalty on New Mexico. All of the penalties have occurred on first down.
On first down. On first down.
Cole McCamey from Artesia, New Mexico.
It kind of surprised me the way they started the football game. Came out in a 4-wide set a couple of times. Here they go back to it. But they are 115th in the country in passing offense out of 117 teams. So they're not known for doing this.
Ball now on the 15-yard line. In the backfield, great stop by Akimbemi, the senior from Rialto, California. Big stop on first down. And the Naval Brigade that have come out here en masse enjoy it.
Well, he's a big guy inside, big and strong, can really move. And you see him there just playing off the block of the center, Ryan Cook. Just kind of throws him aside. Big, strong guy, like I mentioned. Bench presses 470 pounds, squats about 650. He is a load in there, built low to the ground, 6 foot, 282 pounds.
Trying to swing it to the outside to Hank Basket on second down. Pass goes awry, and it's going to bring up a third down and long.
It kind of looked like Reggie Seeley got a hand on that football. We'll take a look at the battle in the trenches. And you look at the size differential between the offensive and defensive lines, 319 to 260, and well, you get guys that big leaning on you all day long. I just worry about this Navy football team when we get well into the second half.
Big opportunity for a stop here for the Naval Academy. They had yet to stop New Mexico on a third down. Lobos need to get to the 3-yard line. They get to the end zone. Logan Hall, touchdown of 17 yards, and the Lobos are on the board.
Logan Hall just kind of delays and gets behind the linebacker, Lane Jackson, and in front of the free safety, Josh Smith. And what a well-thrown football by Cole McCamey. You'll see him here just kind of stutter step, and then he's behind Lane Jackson, right in front of Josh Smith. What a well-thrown, well-timed play for on the part of New Mexico.
Wes Zunker comes on and converts the extra point. That was Logan Hall's first touchdown of the season. So Cole McCamey comes out firing through just one incompletion on that opening scoring drive. The Lobos are on the board. There's a comes from honor, commitment, and brotherhood. But in recent years, that pride also has come from the football field. Kyle Eckel and the Navy midshipmen have bulldozed their way back into the college football consciousness. But today, they'll take on a New Mexico Lobo team with a certain pride of their own. They're led by the scat back, Dontrell Moore, who is just a junior, but is already the all-time leading rusher in the history of the Mountain West Conference. We are live here at the Emerald Bowl in San Francisco, California. Our venue is SBC Park, and already New Mexico has flexed their collective muscle. A wonderful touchdown drive to begin this game. And they're up 7-0. Wes Zunker kicks it into the end zone. Jeremy McGowan takes a knee. And Navy will start their first offensive drive on the 20-yard line. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll see Navy's offense in action. Certain things that are unique. Everybody, that means that we are here in the city by the bay. SBC Park is our venue alongside Andre Ware. I'm Eric Collins. So glad you could join us. And Andre, already the New Mexico Lobos have thrown us a curveball.
Yeah, they really have. Everyone expected, including myself as well as the Naval Academy, for him to come out running the football behind Dontrell Moore. All of a sudden, they switch gears, and Cole McCamey comes out throwing the ball all over the park, come out in 4 wide receiver sets, and the result's been a touchdown pass to his big tight end.
An opening drive that ate up 7 minutes and 29 seconds. First play from scrimmage. Aaron Polanco carries it himself. for a gain of 8 for the midshipman. Polanco in his first year as a starter. He is from Wimberley, Texas, just outside of Austin. And he is a guy who is characterized by toughness and grit.
You talk about a tough football player, mentally and physically. And he is a guy that is hard to rattle, was how Paul Johnson described him.
Kyle Eckel gets his first carry. Eckel picks up 1. It'll be a 3rd down and short. Take a look at our NXIVM starting lineups for the Navy offensively. Kyle Eckel, we just saw him. He's a kid from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, who's only been knocked backwards on 1 of his carries the entire season. He's had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Up front, not very big. Not what you'd expect out of Division 1A football players on the offensive line, but they're good. They work well as a unit together. 3rd and short. They go right over their center, James Rossi, for a gain of 2. And the chains will move, so the Navy midshipmen will stay on the field offensively. Defensively, this is where how the Lobos of New Mexico line up. Marcus Parker, he is their game changer up front. He's the guy who can get in the backfield and create havoc. He's got 7 sacks. Linebacking core, Mike Mahoric, Krishon Harris, and Nick Spiegel is the guy we'll be talking about all afternoon long. First down, they're gonna go deep, and Eric Roberts has the ball deep into New Mexico territory. How about that? Aaron Polanco goes up top.
Well, you talk about curveballs, like you mentioned, not only New Mexico, but Navy as well. And I felt like Aaron Polanco would be the better passer in this football game. 53% on the year. Navy will lull you to sleep with that option, Eric, and then all of a sudden, Aaron Polanco will show it. Eric Roberts gets behind. The entire secondary chasing from behind is Josh Bazinet, who cannot catch up with him.
Navy not spending a lot of time in the huddle. Gets off the first down play, and they give it again to Kyle Eckel, who picks up a couple. Flags fly in the defensive backfield.
I wonder what this is all about, because every official on the field, all of a sudden the laundry started coming from every direction. Boy, you're talking about keeping you off balance. Navy, they come out throwing the football after a couple of consecutive runs, and they hit one big over the top for the season. Eric Roberts averaging 18.3 yards per reception, so outstanding.
After the play, we had a dead ball, personal foul, face mask on number 28 on the defense. We're going to go 15 yards, first down.
They're going to call that on Brandon Payne.
Yeah, here it is right here. You see the little extra going on right there, and the official, it's always the last guy that gets caught.
Brandon Payne usually uses his hands in more constructive ways. He leads the team in interceptions with 6. So, ball's at the 15-yard line, and again, the give goes to Kyle Eckel. We'll see a lot of him. He's not going too far too fast as Marcus Parker brings him down.
Yeah, anytime the fullback on an option team goes over 1,000 yards, he becomes the workhorse of the football team. So goes Navy, so goes that guy right there, Kyle Eckel. Already 4th in school history in rushing yards and touchdowns, but they will work the middle of that New Mexico defense over and over again with Kyle Eckel.
Polanco, pressure, takes it himself, and Polanco in the end zone. 14-yard touchdown scamper for Aaron Polanco, one of the 2 senior captains for Paul Johnson.
Yeah, and you see Paul Johnson say, that's what I'm talking about. The best way to get your team back in a football game, respond to points with points of your own. And Navy, they go right down the field. It only took them 2 minutes and 30 seconds to answer the scoring drive of New Mexico.
For Aaron Polanco, touchdown number 14 on the year. Jeff Blumenfeld comes on for the extra point to try and tie this game up. And he does. We've got a slugfest here in the city by the bay. Aaron Polanco getting it done on the midshipman's first drive. He caps off a good possession with a 14-yard TD. We're tied at 7.
Nutritious premium snack nut products, and in part by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And the Accelerate your life.
We're taking a look at the Transamerica building in downtown San Francisco. We're at SBC Park, right on the San Francisco Bay, and so far, scoring has not been a problem for either team.
No,
Touchdowns by both schools.
You know, I thought weather conditions, the way it's been here in San Francisco the last couple of days, you know, I really thought somebody was going to have to score early and maybe hold on. All of a sudden, we got a pretty good shootout going on here.
Blumenfeld will kick off for the second time. Back deep, Marcus Smith and Kevin Walton for the Lobos. Walton with the football, charges up the right side, has a room down the left side. Flag on the field, and Walton pushed out of bounds at the 50-yard line after a gain of 47. We shall see if it holds up.
And I think it's going to be holding on New Mexico on this return, and it was down near about the 23-yard line. So a big return is going to be wiped out because of a holding penalty. Kevin Walton, I mean, boy, he hit it and hit it with some speed.
During the return, holding, number 91 on the offense. The 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's now the 5th penalty on New Mexico. Let's go down to the field, and the 3rd member of our crew, Dave Reston.
Thank you, Eric. Andre, you were talking about the field conditions. It really is sloppy down here. Frank Divis on that long pass completion for Navy. I don't know if you guys saw it. Behind the play, though, he slipped and ended up on his back. On the kickoff a little while ago, one of the linesmen ended up on his back as well. So that's certainly going to be an issue. Something to keep an eye on down here. It is very sloppy.
Yeah, we watched him in warm-ups, and a lot of guys, like Dave mentioned, was just slipping around in warm-ups. And it is tough when you don't have the right footing on a field like this.
McCamey wants to throw on first down. Pass is low, and it skips away from the intended receiver basket.
You got to keep in mind, you know, New Mexico's trying to do something that they're really not characteristically sharp in doing. Is Cole McCamey, 47% passer. He's only 5 touchdown passes on the year and 7 interceptions. They're known as a running football team, but they have come out like gunslingers and thrown it all around with him.
McCamey 6 for 8 already, 54 yards. Those 54 yards are basically half of what they normally average on the season. They average just 111 passing yards per game. They have just 5 touchdown passes, but they already have 1 today. McCamey again, his 9th toss is complete. He's now 7 out of 9. Hank Baskett with another catch, gain of 11.
We'll take a look at Cole McCamey just passing 4 wide receiver sets there, just kind of checking it down to Travis Brown over the middle. A little screen pass as well. They have really spread this Navy defense out and thrown it here on a touchdown pass. A little delay by Logan Hall, only his 5th reception of the season and his first touchdown reception. But I've always believed, though, on field conditions like this, the offense has an advantage because you know where you're going. The defense has got to get traction to readjust to what you're doing offensively. And maybe New Mexico has the same thought process. We'll spread them out and make them play defense all over the field.
Dontrell Moore tries to dance along the left side. Not much doing. Well, tonight at 8 Eastern, Aaron Rodgers, J.J. Arrington, and the 4th-ranked Cal Bears take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders that have that wonderful aerial attack led by Sonny Cumbie, their quarterback. That's the Pacific Light Holiday Bowl. Coverage begins with the College Game Day Bowl Special presented by Outback Steakhouse at 7:30 Eastern. It's all part of Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN and ESPN2. And Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be a high draft pick in the NFL. You may want to watch him before he heads off to the National Football League. He's been wonderful for 2 seasons for Jeff Tetra.
Oh, we got a little shootout here. That's going to be a heck of a shootout later on tonight.
Little pitch out. Dontrell Moore can't hang on to the football. It's loose, and the midshipmen dive on it.
Dontrell Moore is down, Eric. I mean, he took one heck of a shot, and he has not moved yet.
Lane Jackson jumped on the football, and Dontrell Moore in a lot of pain. And one official has called this an incomplete pass.
I think this was definitely behind the line of scrimmage. You're trying to pitch it, and you see the option inside and the pitch on the outside, and I mean, arriving is Vaughn Kelly. And they're going to reward Navy with this football, but right now the concern is for Dontrell Moore, who took that big lick.
So the initial call of a forward pass is overruled. They are going to indeed say it was a backwards pass. And the ball's going to go over to the Navy midshipmen. They get the first break of the day.
Yeah,
so New Mexico already with 5 penalties and 1 turnover now.
Yeah, in close ball games, you talk about penalties and turnovers, and right now Navy already ahead in both those categories in terms of staying away from the penalties and, oh boy, what a big lick, and it was down low. And Dontrell Moore, teammates carrying him off the field. We can only hope that he's going to be okay, and we'll see him later on in this football game.
Vaughn Kelly with the hit, Lane Jackson with the recovery. Aaron Polanco and the midshipmen with great field position. The give goes to the fullback, Eckel. And again, Eckel with not much doing. Mike Mahorek, one of a host of Lobo defenders to bring him down.
Yeah, Eckel's one of those throwback types, always looking for contact, and you see Dontrell Moore there just being attended to by the medical staff. The other outstanding running back for New Mexico on the other side of the field. And there's the guy right there, Kyle Eckel, just a big bruise and run.
Pitch goes to Frank Divis, and the kid from Cleveland, Ohio, upended at the 20-yard line by Jarrell Malone. Gain of 1, it'll bring up a 3rd down and 8. Frank Divis is an exciting player. He's the fastest guy playing for the Naval Academy this season. He's a guy who likes to get to the edge, and when he's out there, he can do fantastic things.
And they get the ball in a lot of guys' hands. We talk about Kyle Eckel, who touches it more so than anybody else, but Eric Roberts on a pitch. You mentioned Frank Divis as well, averaging 8.7 yards a carry. Just phenomenal.
Again, the pitch out. Divis now wants to throw the football. Polanco has it inside the 5, and he's wrestled down. Some trickery for the Naval Academy.
And that's Paul Johnson at his best. Not only is a head coach, he calls the plays for this Navy football team. And I mean, you get in a bowl game, everything is out the window. All the conventional style play goes out the window. You try to catch and take advantage of mismatches any way you possibly can. Navy there, little pitch and a throwback to the quarterback. And Polanco showing some strength breaking tackles.
And up the middle, the big fella, Kyle Eckel, gets close, but not in. It'll bring up a 2nd down and goal from about the half-yard line.
Yeah, I mentioned the fact a while ago, he's a throwback type player. He's always looking for contact, and you know, you talk about a muddy field and conditions. This is perfect for a guy like Kyle Eckel. He likes to get in there. He's a nasty football player. Run me every time is what he's thinking.
Polanco keeps it himself, and Polanco with 2 touchdowns already.
The Navy really had a point to prove coming into this football game. New Mexico facing 4 bowl opponents. A lot of criticism about the Navy schedule this year and the 9 wins that they had, 2 coming against Division I AA opponents, but well, they wanted to come in and show that they could play with anybody on any level. So far, so good, Eric.
Blumenfeld comes on for his 2nd extra point attempt, and once again, he splits the uprights. So a turnover leads to 7 points for the Navy midshipmen. Dontrell Moore got stuck by Vaughn Kelly, and a couple of plays later, the Navy midshipmen cash in on their break.
Back in San Francisco. Dontrell Moore injured on the last drive, and the Lobos fumbled the ball. I just talked to some members of the New Mexico training staff. Dontrell Moore being taken off right now. He's going to get x-rayed in the locker room. They're thinking it's either a left ACL or MCL injury. Guys, I would be absolutely stunned were he to come back. He can't even walk down the stairs with assistance. I think Dontrell Moore's day is done.
Thank you, Dave, and that is just terrible news for the Lobos.
Really is. I mean, his teammates had to take him off the field, and what a big-time hit that he took from Vaughn Kelly coming in and working from outside in. He never saw the blow coming. It was just a tough loss for New Mexico.
Dontrell Moore has been so much to the New Mexico program. The most ballyhooed recruit to ever sign on the dotted line for Rocky Long. And now, if he can't give it a go, Just a difficult afternoon it'll be for New Mexico. Let's see how they're able to recoup.
There you see Dontrell being escorted out and carrying him out on the cart. You never want to see a player leave the field in that manner.
Dontrell, after 3 seasons for New Mexico, already the Mountain West all-time leading rusher. And that man just got to be sick to his stomach. Rocky Long has a very special affinity for Dontrell Moore and the commitment that Dontrell made to his program. First down at 10. McCamey takes it himself, makes a couple of people miss. Out close to the 50-yard line. Some good dancing for McCamey. Finally tripped up by David Mahoney, but not before a gain of 23 yards.
And he shows it inside to this running back, Dede Cox, and then follows in behind him. Right there, just going to show it inside and block it in, follows it. And when you watch film of Cole McCamey, this is what you see, the ability to make plays with his legs and following receivers down the field. He is as good a runner on the field as anybody else. And they came out throwing the football, which surprised me.
That's New Mexico's longest play of the afternoon. Landrick Brody, good gain on first down. Friday, Capital One Bowl week on ESPN highlights 4 of the nation's top quarterbacks. Andre, you're going to love this. First at 3:30 Eastern in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. It's Jared Zabransky and Boise State taking on Stephon LaForce and the Louisville Cardinals. At 7:30 Eastern, it's former Florida Gator Brock Berlin and the 14th ranked Miami Hurricanes taking on the Florida Gators. That's the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
And what a way to go out if you're Brock Berlin. Your final game as a college player against the team you transferred away from. Well, that'll be a special one. But that other one, Boise State and Louisville, I can't wait to see that one.
We had a chance to see Boise State earlier this year. They could score in bunches. Zabransky, he's a sensational talent.
He really is. I mean, Dan Hawkins has done a fabulous job. They signed him to a contract extension at Boise State, and he'll be there for a while longer. And he is just going to continue to build something special there.
Dede Cox with the carry, jumps over a couple of tacklers, and then brought down at the 35-yard line after a gain of 2. Expect Dede Cox to get the lion's share of carries the rest of the afternoon, with Dontrell Moore injured on the sideline. Dede Cox transferred from Oklahoma State. They wanted to make him a linebacker. He said, I prefer to cook the football. So he made the pilgrimage to Albuquerque.
They go to that 4 wide receiver set, trying to spread Navy out again, take advantage of Navy in zone drops.
This will be the final play of the first quarter, and it's intercepted. Josh Smith, the senior captain, with the interception, his second of the year.
But Josh Smith, playing in his final ball game, had a big interception against Army a couple of weeks ago for a touchdown. Picked it off and took it back for a touchdown. He was an outstanding running back in high school and made the switch to defensive back. But here you see Cole McCamey just staring things down, and right there trying to force one into coverage. And Josh Smith baits him into that throw. You'll see him dropping in the zone, and then back here, boy, what a fabulous job. Josh Smith playing with his eyes as well as his hands.
So everything is going the way of the midshipmen here in the second part of the first quarter. Kyle Eckel, oh my, so hard to bring down. A bulldozing run of 11 yards, his best run of the afternoon. And the Navy midshipmen, they're sailing on clear seas right now. The Emerald Bowl has 1 quarter done. The Brigade of Navy, they're enjoying this one. Everything's going well for the midshipmen. Our score after 15 minutes, it's Navy 14, New Mexico 7. You're taking a lot of sights and sounds when you're in San Francisco. Here in the Bay Area, there's a lot to do.
Now, that was the first thing I wanted to see when I got off the plane here in San Francisco was Alcatraz. For whatever reason, I don't know. I just enjoyed the movie so much, and as I opened my hotel window, there it was. I was staring right at it. Beautiful.
15 minutes in the books. The Navy midshipmen have scored the last 14 points. Oh my, Polanco going deep, has a man. Corey driving, yards. Polanco to drive.
Well, we talked about Aaron Polanco and his ability to throw the football in this game. In warm-ups, he looked very comfortable throwing the football around. It was a tight spiral. Even in the conditions, the wet conditions, sometimes you get a wet football. He was throwing a tight spiral. He looked sharp. I expected him to be able to throw the football. I just didn't know he was going to throw it this way.
Third extra point attempt up and good. It's now 21-7. Navy has posted 3 touchdowns in the last 5 minutes and change. The most recent one, the most spectacular, 61 yards, Polanco to Dryden. Well, it's just the way that Paul team scored 3 touchdowns in the last 8 offensive plays to take a 21-7 lead.
Yeah, and you talk about a coach. The way I define coaches is their ability to adjust throughout the game and at halftime, and he does it as well as any coach I've seen across the country. I mean, they score a lot of points in the second quarter, and there they start early. Georgia Southern 62-10 as the head coach, and right here already at Navy 19-17, 17-7, Eric, in the last 2 years. The guy just knows how to win football games.
Took over a winless program, won 2 games his first year, and then over the last 2 seasons, 17 W's. Ooh, dangerous play. Ball eventually just knocked out of bounds by Marcus Smith. That was a live football. He just needed to make sure the ball was out of bounds. Let's take a look at our game track, and it has been all Aaron Polanco and the Navy midshipmen. After spotting the Lobos 7 points, they've got 21 unanswered.
Yeah, and he's just accounted for everything. 2 touchdowns rushing, and then a big one over the top, and then the loss for New Mexico and Dontrell Moore has really hurt their football team. They've got to find a way to rally themselves and get themselves back in this football game.
Cole McCamey, normally primarily a runner, and he has been doing a lot of passing so far today. D.D. Cox with the carry, slipped up, brought down by Lane Jackson after a gain of 1.
So what you lose when you lose a guy like Dontrell Moore is speed and elusiveness. D.D. Cox is a big guy, 6 foot, 213 pounds. He slows the game down, and it works to the advantage of this Navy football team. All of a sudden, you're not chasing a quick scat back around. You're chasing a big old guy, big old lumbering tailback around there. It kind of matches up in terms of speed.
4 receivers in the game for McCamey. Second down and long. Turns around and fires it back. Gets it to Baskett. And Baskett with room. 1 man to beat. Baskett brought down at the 35-yard line. Josh Smith, just enough speed to bring him down, but a huge gainer for Baskett and the Lobos. Give him 53 yards.
Yeah, and he ought to come back and thank his right guard, big Brian Humphreys, all 6'3", 297 pounds of it, because he throws an absolute wonderful kick-out block right there. You see big 69 throw the kick-out block, and then all of a sudden Hank Baskett is down the sideline. The only guy to beat is Josh Smith. And Josh, you're not going to get away from him. He's led this Naval Academy 3 years in a row in tackle.
Whistle blows before the play is called. Hank Baskett, tremendous athlete. Mountain West high jump champion, close to 7 feet.
Yeah, they said in high school he jumped 7 feet ½ inch.
Dave, what's going down on the field?
Well, yeah, you guys were talking about Hank Baskett, 7 foot 1 inch high jumper in high school. As you said, that's a state record in New Mexico. Crazy story with him, really a scary one. The summer of 2003, during a practice, he was going out for a pass and got injured. He was temporarily paralyzed. They took him to the hospital. He was diagnosed with a spinal contusion. The doctors told them, guys, never to play football again. They went for a second opinion, and another doctor said, you know what, I think in the long run he's going to be okay. And in fact, 2 months later, he was back out catching passes for the Lobos.
He's a big old target, too, at 6'4", 220 pounds, and can really run and make plays. And his quarterback there, Cole McCamey, hit a big run for New Mexico, and all of a sudden they are inside the red zone and knocking on the door. Eric, more points to be scored.
We actually had a face mask at the end of that run, which is going to put the ball inside the 10. It was an 18-yard run plus the penalty. It's going to put the ball down at the 7-yard line. just to finish the thought off about Hank Baskett, Dave started it. He's got an extra incentive to play for now. He is the best friend on the team with Dontrell Moore. Actually, Dontrell Moore came to New Mexico because Hank Baskett had already signed. And now with Moore not being able to play, Baskett's got to do it for both of them. We're glad you're joining us here for the 3rd annual Emerald Bowl. We're here at SBC Park, just a gorgeous facility. Of course, this is the home of Barry Bonds and the San Francisco Giants during the summer months. It's been converted to a football configuration. Ground is a little bit soggy. The weather has been dicey, to say the least, over the last couple of days. A lot of wind, a lot of rain.
A little chill in the air. A fight.
Give goes to the first man through. Landrick Brody picks up a couple. It'll bring up a 3rd down goal. Cole McCamey, just a sophomore, engineering a solid drive. This got jump-started with that 53-yard catch and run by Hank Baskett.
I mentioned the fact that he came out of a drop-back system in high school and has really had to adjust. They run some option here. They spread things out. And, early in this football game, they had him in a 4-wide receiver set, just kind of throwing it all over the place.
New Mexico is yet to be stopped on 3rd down. They're 3 for 3 in these situations. McCamey tries to spin, gets it out. Rodney Ferguson gets in the end zone for the touchdown. Rodney Ferguson, his first collegiate touchdown, a 4-yard scamper.
And the coaches refer to him as the future at that position. 6 foot, 210 pounds, out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And, you go back to the play itself, and Cole McCamey, just an athletic play, reading the option, and I thought they had wrapped him up. He was pretty much going to be down, found a way to get the football to Rodney Ferguson. He in turn gets himself into the end zone.
Wes Zunker, extra point attempt, no good, wide right. So Zunker's kick is a clunker. So it's an 8-point lead for Navy. 21-13 is our score. Bowl week continues. It is the Emerald Bowl, SBC Park. New Mexico taking on Navy for the very first time ever in these two schools' history. Alongside Andre Ware, with Dave Brebson, I'm Eric Collins. We've had a whole heck of a lot of offense, maybe more than we expected. 27 points have been scored by these two teams combined in the last 6 minutes and 48 seconds.
And it really is a surprise with the conditions of the playing surface. Boy, with rain on the horizon, you really don't know.
Jeremy McGowan, brought down rudely at the 25, and we're going to have a face mask penalty tacked on the end of that run. Kevin Walton came in high and brought him down illegally. So Navy, they don't need much help, but they're going to get some extra yards tacked on to the end of that run.
Number 91 on the kicking team. 15 yards tacked on to the end of the run. 1st down.
And Navy, once again, like you mentioned, going to have some excellent field position. You'll see right there, the face mask, the whole entire helmet was turned around right there. You get a hand on it, you got to let it go. I mean, he turns him completely around with that face mask.
So the ball is going to move all the way out to the 40-yard line in New Mexico already with a half dozen miscues. 6 penalties, Navy with just 1. Aaron Polanco keeps it himself on 1st down.
Yeah, just the threat of giving it to Kyle Eckel occupies a lot of people. It occupies Marcus Parker, the nose tackle for New Mexico. He's grabbing every time. He's got to respect the fact that whether Kyle Eckel has the football or not, it occupies linebackers as well. Just eating up and occupying people. All of a sudden, Aaron Polanco is going to pull it out of there.
Polanco on the reverse, coming around. It's Jason Tomlinson with room to run. 1 man to beat. Tomlinson out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Gabriel Fulbright was the last man to push him out of bounds, but a gain of 31 for the midshipmen.
Well, we just talked about the fact that you have to respect Kyle Eckel on the inside for Navy. You see here, Aaron Polanco's going to show the football, and they occupy so many people there. They get all the flow going to the left side of the formation. Big Sam Brown pulling around and throws a fabulous block for Jason Tomlinson. Good misdirection play by Paul Jones and Navy.
Eckel, another bruising run between the tackles. Josh Bazinet brings him down, but not before a gain of 8. Let's take a look at how the midshipmen got to today's game. A 9-2 record, continuing with the good vibes over the last couple of seasons. For the second consecutive year, they defeated both Air Force and Army to win the Commander-in-Chief Trophy. Just the second time in school history that they've won the Commander-in-Chief Trophy for 2 consecutive seasons.
You see, this is what they want to do right here. Get the big guy involved, Kyle Eckel. And they'll take 4 and 5 yards of pop. He averages 5 yards a carry on the season. 11 touchdown runs by Kyle Eckel. But that's their bread and butter. The inside with Kyle Eckel, and they can play so much off that because all of a sudden the defense has got to crash down inside to respect it. And Aaron Polanco's going to pull it out and work the edges against the defensive ends.
Divis, the man in motion. It goes to Eckel. Well, let's take a look at those Commander-in-Chief games that we talked about just a couple of moments ago. Last-minute field goal. Jeff Blumenfeld won the game in Colorado Springs against Air Force by 3. One of just 3 field goals Blumenfeld made all year. And then just a couple of weeks ago, game against the Army Black Knights. Josh Smith. Big defensive play, interception, returned it 67 yards for the touchdown, and the midshipmen won going away. Divis with the carry, tries the left side, flags fly, and he's out of bounds, close to the end line, to the goal line, but I don't think he got in. We'll have to wait and see what this penalty is.
Yeah, and there's a flag down, and it's in that area of holding on the outside on the perimeter, trying to secure the corner for the pitch with Frank Divis, and I think this one's going to come back with a holding penalty.
Holding on the offense. Number 34. It's a 10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul, which is the line of scrimmage. Repeat, second down.
Yeah, it's Eric Roberts, the other slot back on that other side. And you'll see him from the top of the screen right here coming in, trying to secure the corner. Right there, getting him down around the legs. That official right there on top of him.
Navy usually very good, the penalty department. They average just 4 penalties per game.
Yeah, they realize they have to be because they are a very disciplined football team.
Polanco with the pocket collapsing, gets out of there. Brought down at the 10-yard line, but he picks up a good chunk of yards. Gain of 13. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and short. Aaron Polanco has done a bit of this and a bit of that.
Yeah, he goes over the top here to Eric Roberts on the pass, and then right there pulling it down, running. He's got a nose for the end zone. And then he just, a little bit of trickery, he can catch it as well there.
2 rushing touchdowns, a 17-yard catch, and 2 long gainers. 35-yard completion and a 61-yard TD pass. Polanco, this time, nowhere to run. 3rd and short, and for the first time on 3rd down, Navy is stopped.
It looked like the timing with the slot back in motion. Eric Roberts was thrown off just a little bit where he was behind, too far behind for Aaron Polanco to even really consider pitching the football, so he had to keep it inside. And maybe if it's timed up a little better, you get the pitch man out in front. All of a sudden you can get to the corner, but there, Eric Roberts wasn't anywhere in the vicinity.
Andre 4th and 4, and they're going to go for it.
This is Paul Johnson. He doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in that kicking game. So you look at him on 4th down. They're 62% on the season going for it on 4th down.
Need to get to the 6-yard line. Polanco trying to get the Lobos to jump offside. They don't. And the midshipmen have to take a timeout. We'll take a timeout with them. 9:22 remaining, 4th and 4 for Navy. Ball at the 10-yard line.
2004 Emerald Bowl, brought to you by Emerald Nuts. 4 the 2005 Rose Bowl, New Year's Day on ABC.
That is Lombard Street, which is called the world's crookedest street. Close to Fisherman's Wharf, and I can't imagine a street that's more crooked than that.
No, our director, John Coleman, said as a kid he used to wait till everybody got down to the end of the street and then drive down there as fast as they could, all the neighbors screaming at them to slow down.
Jeff Blumenfeld comes on to attempt a 27-yard field goal. He's just 3 for 10 on the year. Make it 4 out of 11. He's figured it out. Blumenfeld gets Paul Johnson's midshipman on the board once again. They have now been productive on all 4 possessions.
Well, they have done some things on offense that has really kept this New Mexico defense off balance all throughout this ball game. They've thrown when New Mexico's expected them to run. They've run when they've expected them to throw it, and then they flip in a pass back to the quarterback as well by Frank Divis, the slot back. So they've done a lot of different things, and that's how Paul Johnson, that's why he's so good as a football coach. He knows how to keep you off balance. But here, even as we give praise to Jeff Blumenfeld, this is very, very close. Look at it, just, whoa. That looks like it's no good.
Well, it's the holiday season. Everyone's in a giving spirit. Maybe the referees knew that
it looked like it slid just outside the right upper.
Not reviewable, folks.
Well, here it is again. Watch right here. I mean, right in that area, it's going to slide just outside. Wow. That's no good. But it's good now.
You get those type of breaks when you're 3 for 10 on the year. At least you need those type of breaks when you're 3 for 10 on the year. Well, it's going to count nonetheless. The Navy midshipmen now up by 11. 9:19 remaining. Blumenfeld again with another kickoff. Marcus Smith has the football. Starts at the 12 and ends at the 20. Tonight at 8 Eastern, Aaron Rodgers, J.J. Arrington, and the California Bears, ranked 4th in the country, take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders in the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Coverage begins with the College Game Day Bowl Special presented by Outback Steakhouse at 7:30 Eastern. And Jeff Tedford's bunch, they're a little bit angry right now, Andre. They thought they were a lock to go to the Rose Bowl for the first time in ages. But, well, they had the rug taken out from underneath.
We had some petitioning going on by the University of Texas that swung some votes, and all of a sudden Cal was at home. But I think they've got a point to prove, and that should be an exciting, high-scoring football game.
McCamey bounces off a couple of tacklers, but can't bounce away from David Mahoney. He brings him down from behind after a gain of 4. Could have been a loss on the play, but McCamey gets 4 yards out of it.
Well, McCamey just averaging 2.6 yards a carry, having a rough go in the early part of this game.
That's the campus of Cal Berkeley. You're not going to find too many Cal Bears on the football team there right now. They're down in San Diego getting ready to play in the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Wonderful school that is over there.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a huge, huge point to prove tonight against Texas Tech.
McCamey, once again, has to work without Dontrell Moore. Everything scat back, out with a leg injury. Quite possibly he won't be back. Mike Augustiniak with his first catch. Here's how New Mexico got here. They're 7-4 on the year, but they began very slowly, just 2-4 in their first 6 games, but they finished on a high note, winners of 5 consecutive.
Yeah, they were very, very young. Talking to Rocky Long, their head coach, he said they were young, inexperienced. They had a lot of injuries early in the early part of the season. They got things turned around at the right time and finished with 5 straight wins in order to get themselves into this bowl game.
First down at 10. McCamey slips as he sets up and fires low and outside, intended for Chris Drawley.
I'm kind of impressed with the wet conditions and the field being as slippery as it is the quarterback, both quarterbacks at points in this ball game have really thrown the football well. And you see the turf here. Chris Brawley unable to keep his feet or adjust to that football, but it's coming out, and I guess the officials have done a pretty good job of keeping a dry ball in the football game for both quarterbacks.
McCamey from the shotgun, looking confident back there. As a man, complete to Baskett. And Baskett crosses the entire field and is finally pushed out of bounds by Hunter Reddick. But another big gainer for Baskett, this time 23 more yards.
Baskett, just a little simple in route, and Cole McCamey does a good job of reading it out. He's got Logan Hall clearing from, coming from underneath, clearing across there, and all of a sudden you're going to see Hank Baskett come across in the middle of your screen right there, opening things up, and then out the backside for a first down. There's a good job of being patient on the part of Cole McCamey.
Andre, you talked about how offense usually has the advantage in conditions like this. But do passing games have the advantage over running games? Is that why we're seeing so many passes?
I really think so, Eric, because, you know, as a passer and as a receiver, you know where you're going, and it's hard to get a pass rush, so you're going to have time to throw the football. And then your receivers, they know where to run, you know, where in their route they're going, so the defensive back has to adjust. He can't plant and break or plant and maneuver to where the receiver's going. So I definitely think it's to the offense's advantage.
Rodney Ferguson is checked in next to McCamey in the backfield. Once again from the shotgun. McCamey this time wants to try a little bit of option. Kicks it out to Ferguson. And Ferguson with another big gain. The true freshman Ferguson has stepped up in place of Dontrell Moore. And basically everything we talked about, Andre, with Rocky Long and with Paul Johnson, that's out the window. They were snowing us.
It really has, because Rocky Long came out offensively. He's throwing the football all over the park. And Paul Johnson has just taken out every trick in the book in this football game. Early in the first half, has used everything in terms of trick plays, you know, keeping New Mexico off balance. So it's been an adjustment period for both coaches on both sidelines.
Obviously, both coaches knowing that Heisman Trophy Award winner Andre Ware's in the house, they want to show out their aerial attacks. D.D. Cox with that carry and another good gain on first down. D.D. Cox picks up 10. He'll be close to the first down marker.
Yeah, Dan Dodd, their offensive coordinator at New Mexico, doing a fine job of mixing the pass with the run, and that's what this game is all about, trying to keep your opponent off balance and take advantage where you can find a mismatch. And both teams have done a fabulous job in this ballgame. New Mexico on this drive, mixing it up pretty good so far.
And off to the fullback, Landrick Brody. And Brody is swallowed up. Josh Smith leading the charge after a gain of 3.
And you're talking about a New Mexico team, Eric, that we mentioned it, 115th in the country out of 117 schools in passing. And they came out 4 wide receiver sets, 3 wide receivers, and the first touchdown pass goes to the big tight end who hadn't caught but 4 balls and not a touchdown reception on the season. So, boy, all of what we thought was going to happen, throw that out of the window. We're just going to get it on the old-fashioned way.
Timeout on the field. Rocky Long wants to talk things over with his quarterback, Cole McCamey. The Lobos on a good drive. Let's see if they can cash it in. We'll take a timeout. Welcome for both these two teams. Dontrell Moore, probably the biggest star. He was injured on that play right there. He was undercut by Vaughn Kelly, and he is in a lot of pain still on the sidelines, and it looks like he won't be available for Rocky Long and the Lobos. So that is a big factor in today's game.
Yeah, they've really had to adjust in this football game, and they've done it by running back by committee. We've had the freshman Rodney Ferguson in. D.D. Cox has been in at times.
Second down at 7. McCamey picks up a couple. Well, Dontrell Moore is a big part of the team, but his head coach says he's not the only part.
Dontrell is a great player that was highly recruited and fits into our team concept. We don't have stars on our football team. People try to make them stars when you have the kind of statistics that Dontrell has. People try to make them stars. But there's nobody on our football team that is treated like a star or acts like a star, as you could tell by talking to Dontrell. We're a blue-collar football team. We go out and play, and hopefully things work right.
So far, this has been a blue-collar drive.
Yeah,
They've just
it really
steadily
has.
moving the chains. Third down at 5. McCamey under duress sets up the screen. First down yards for Ferguson. Down to the 10-yard line. And again, the Lobos convert on third down. They are now 5 for 5 on 3rd down.
Well, this play works because of the eyes of Cole McCamey, just waiting and waiting and waiting, looking down the field, letting the rush get to him and setting up the screen pass. And then all of a sudden, he's going to get an excellent block by the right guard, number 69, Brian Humphreys, right in the middle of the screen, right there. You see it? He frees him up just at the right time, at the nick of time, Rodney Ferguson, in order for him to pick up the 1st down. And the rain is back, Eric.
It is coming down hard as D.D. Cox takes it on 1st down for a gain of a couple. Well, you hear about teams marching into pay dirt. Not right now. Teams are marching in to muck. Take a look at this. This is the back of the end zone. It's a quagmire.
Yeah, it is not pretty in there. And once the guys are in the end zone or defending from there, you got to really be careful with it that they don't slip and fall and give up a big play.
The first half of the end zone is actually grass, but then the back half is the warning track. Remember, this is ordinarily a baseball facility. So a lot of muck and mire in that end zone. 2nd and goal. Ferguson upended inside the 5.
You know, Rocky Long talked about Dontrell Moore and his football team not having a lot of stars on it. You know, he takes great pride, and he actually referred to it yesterday to me as walk on you. You know, he's got 7 former walk-ons starting in today's ball game. So you talk about the definition of a program being blue collar. It is New Mexico.
New Mexico has never been stopped. The only time they were stopped is when they stopped themselves.
Yeah.
A fumble and an interception. 5 for 5 are the Lobos on 3rd down. Both of their touchdowns were scored on 3rd down. McCamey again. Touchdown, Lobos.
Boy, another good block by Ryan Cook, the center, to kind of free things up for Cole McCamey in the middle of that formation. And he just reads it out, and I mean, he gets north and south in a hurry to get himself in the end zone.
McCamey gets into the end zone, and with an extra point, it'll make it a 4-point game, but we may have a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
We will. McCamey stays out there, and Rocky Long wants the deuce. Should they get this, it would make it a 3-point game, which you can understand, but it's kind of early in the game to be going for 2.
Well, he wants to go early so that, the pressure is not there later in the football game to have to do it.
Little fade, going to the end zone. Basket can't get his hands on it. Knocked away. Good defense by Hunter Reddick. And Cole McCamey and the Lobos will have to settle for just 6.
Can you believe that Hunter Reddick, the corner, was an offensive lineman in high school? Here he makes a fabulous play as a defensive back just at the last second to get a hand on that football and knock it away. But he was one of the bigger guys on his high school football team, and he had him at offensive line. I don't know if that's ever been done in the history of football, where a guy plays offensive line in high school and then is a converted defensive back when he gets to college.
He is a big guy for a corner.
Yeah.
He's 6'2", 190, but still, he's not blowing guys off the line.
Yeah, I asked Buddy Green about that. I said, have you ever crossed that in your, as a defensive coordinator? He said, never. Never has he had a guy play offensive line in high school and made the switch. He's actually one of the better cover guys for Navy.
Well, Cole McCamey gets the touchdown for the New Mexico Lobos, but maybe a little bit of holding up front.
Maybe some holding right there. Look at that. It was the jersey of Lane Jackson, the linebacker, being held a little bit there. You know what? That was just kind of payback for that field goal. That was a little bit wide right. Hey, I can turn my back on a hold as well.
So Wes Zunker will kick things off. Low kick, skids, out of bounds. So a mistake in the kicking game by the New Mexico Lobos. And it'll give Navy very good possession, field position. They've had great starting field position the entire afternoon. They've been averaging starting on their own 42-yard line.
I'll tell you what I've been impressed with.
35, 1st down.
In this football game is the offensive output by both schools, both New Mexico and Navy, because you usually have a few weeks off. It's hard for the offense to kind of get themselves going after a couple of weeks of not playing at game speed. You would expect to come out a little bit slow. The field conditions, you mix that in. Now it's starting to rain, but it hadn't slowed both offenses for both universities down.
Hope you're enjoying the Emerald Bowl here in San Francisco. A lot of offense for both schools so far. The Navy on top of New Mexico by 5. 4 possessions offensively for the midshipmen. 3 touchdowns and a field goal.
Yeah, they have been, you talk about executing well in conditions like this. Aaron Polanco has really done a good job of executing their offense. He's given it to Kyle Eckel when it's there. He's pulled it and worked the perimeter. And then in the passing game, he has been fantastic.
Kyle Eckel, the Philadelphia kid, barrels out for a gain of a couple. Fala Fashola brings him down at the 39-yard line. They'll bring up 3rd and 5. Not bad at all.
Not at all.
The one gift on their second possession, the Dontrell Moore fumble. It was recovered. And just a 22-yard drive for
and on the year, Navy is outscoring opponents 119 to 57. So that shows me that after the first quarter, he's just sizing you up, and then all of a sudden he can take advantage of what you're doing defensively. Talking about Paul Johnson.
Man unaccounted for. Polanco evades him. Polanco trying to make something out of nothing, and he's going to be just shy of first down yardage. Heck of an athletic play by Aaron Polanco to avoid the sack and get close to the first down.
Yeah, and he gets hit by Kershawn Harris just as he's trying to get airborne and thrust himself towards that first down marker. Kershawn Harris does a fabulous job out of Austin, Texas, Lanier High School, of bringing Aaron Polanco down and stopping him short of this first down.
Andre, we haven't seen a punt by either team today, and it doesn't look like we're going to have one here on 4th and 1. Do you agree with the call?
Well, I mean, it's ticking down, and you're trying to get points. They feel like they can get a little push, and they do. I do agree with the call here. It's a chancy call, but it's only a half yard, and you got a guy like Kyle Eckel in the backfield averaging 5 yards a catch. It's tough. That's an easy decision.
Let's go back to the studio and Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, guys, coming up on the Burger King halftime report, Trev Alberts and Mark May will join me. The Eagles were soaring in the Continental Tire Bowl. We'll also look ahead to the Peach Bowl, Florida and Miami. And we'll also talk about the Holiday Bowl that's coming up in just a bit as soon as you guys finish the first half.
Thanks, Reese. And a fumble on the center quarterback exchange. Polanco able to jump on it, but a negative play for the midshipmen.
And he's talking with the center, James Rossi, there, just maybe pulling out a little bit too early, and that's where all the conditions in the range start to come into effect is quarterback center exchange.
Navy calls a timeout. They want to recruit. We'll take it with them. Come back to the Emerald Bowl. Well, didn't look good from the get-go. Tried to swing it out to Kyle Eckel, and probably a good thing that he dropped the football.
No, it really did. It was well read by the New Mexico defense. And he's trying to set up a screen, and Aaron Polanco just trying to draw him, and all of a sudden, Kyle Eckel's going to have a lot of attention anyway. There's somebody assigned to him by that New Mexico defense at all times. And then it happened to be Marcus Parker, the nose tackle. He saw it, read it out, got out there, and kind of broke things up.
Good day to have an umbrella.
Yes.
Good day to be an umbrella salesman. 3rd down and long. Polanco gets a couple, but not nearly enough, and wouldn't be surprised if we see this first punt of the game, right?
Maybe. I mean, if you go for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and a half inch, the way they did before a couple of downs ago, they're going to certainly talk about it. Take a timeout and talk about it.
New Mexico calls the timeout, so they want to keep some time on the clock for when they get the football back. Friday, Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN highlights 4 of the nation's top quarterbacks. At 3:30 Eastern in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, it's Boise State, led by Jared Zabransky, taking on Stefan LaForge, the southpaw for the Louisville Cardinals. Then at 7:30, it's the Battle of the Sunshine State. The Florida Gators taking on the Miami Hurricanes. Of course, Florida, they have Chris Leak, that sensational sophomore, and former Florida Gator quarterback Brock Berlin getting another start against the Florida Gators.
Yeah,
now for the Miami Hurricanes, Last time they played, Brock Berlin got a little bit testy after Miami defeated the Gators. A little bit antagonistic, and that'll be remembered by the Florida Gators.
Well, that's always a fierce rivalry when those two teams get a chance to get it on. And I mentioned the fact earlier, what a fabulous way for Brock Berlin to bring his college career to an end in a school that he transferred from. So that's always a little extra motivation in there.
A little bit of fog here as we try and set the scene for you in the city by the bay. It is a nasty day.
A little mud going on, too.
Gorgeous city, wonderful place,
yes.
Great sights, a lot of things to do. But the weather today, Chamber of Commerce not endorsing. Punt by Eric Shuey. His first punt gets down inside the 20, just barely. Punt of 32 yards, and that is where the Lobos of New Mexico will take over with 49 seconds remaining here in the first half. Both offenses have been virtually unstoppable.
Man, you know, in the first half of a ball game, a lot of teams like to protect the football. Here, you've got 49 seconds and a timeout. You have to keep in mind that in the college game, the clock will stop with every first down. So it's a lot of time there, a lot of time for Cole McCamey to get his football team down the field with an opportunity to score. And they come right out with the empty backfield and 5 wide receivers.
Cole McCamey showing us a side that we hadn't expected to see. He's been throwing early and often and well. This time, keeps it himself. And McCamey doing what he normally does. Good gainer on first down, gain of 11.
Yeah,
Clock will stop.
He gets a good block by big Claude Terrell, the left tackle out of Lamarck, Texas. That happened to be my high school rival when I was in high school down in Dickinson, Texas. Lamarck and Dickinson, we'd get it on Friday night, boy, and they'd sell it out. Lamarck still has a good football program. They're in the state playoffs pretty much every year on a regular basis.
They play some good high school football down in Texas.
You know.
Clock continues to move, and again, McCamey, quarterback keeper, gain of 6, and it looks like Rocky Long and the Lobos will be content to go to the locker room down by 5 points. Maybe not. Timeout is called by Rocky Long and the New Mexico Lobos.
Just take a shot. I mean, it can't hurt anything to try to get a pass interference, or maybe someone slips on the field like this, and you hit him over the top for a big one.
Let's go back down on the field where the wet Dave Revson is standing by.
Thanks, Eric. I'm here with Gary Ford, the Chief Operating Officer of Diamond of California, sponsor of this bowl game. Gary, why is it so important for you guys to be involved with this game?
Well, we've recently launched 14 new snack nut items, very healthy snack nut items under the Emerald brand, and we're using college football in this bowl game as one of our marketing platforms.
Is there anything you can do about the weather?
I wish I could, but you know, we did get a little break before the game, and we got people in the stands, and so we got a great crowd here. So.
All right, Gary, thanks a lot. Thanks for your sponsorship as well. That's Gary Ford. Guys?
Yeah, Diamond Nuts. They have rolled out the red carpet. They've been a wonderful sponsor this entire week.
You know, when we got here, I had a nice big package from Diamond in my room, and I tell you what, I've sampled every type of nut that there was in there. I mean, just going through packets, just ripping them open and just taking a little bit out of each packet, and they're very, very good.
We're up to our knees in nuts, and we're both nuts about nuts. You know that.
That's it.
The Filbert.
Cashews. And they've got one set where it's walnuts that taste kind of like a brownie. Those are pretty good.
And they know what they're doing at the nuts. All right, 10 seconds remaining. First half, New Mexico trailing by 5. Let's see what they do. This Hail Mary time. Oh, McCamey. Again with the run. And gets out of bounds in time to stop the clock. Gain of 10. That'll give them one final play, you'd assume, before the first half closes out.
Well, if he can get some time, he'll have an opportunity to maybe take a shot over the top. But maybe they've got defenders as far back as about the 15-yard line, trying to keep everything in front of them.
The ball's going to be spotted on the 46-yard line. Let's see what kind of arm McCamey has. 3 receivers out to the right. McCamey with time, loads it up, fires. And the ball is intercepted. Lane Jackson with the pick, and that'll do it for the first 30 minutes of play here in the 3rd annual Emerald Bowl. 24-19 is our score. More scoring than we expected to see, but it has been a very entertaining first half of play here in San Francisco. New Mexico started off touchdown on their first drive, but then disaster struck when with the storm of blue. It's been an offensive onslaught in the rain here at San Francisco for the 2004 Emerald Bowl. 24-19 is our score. Navy on top of New Mexico. With more from the Navy head coach, let's go down to Dave Revsine.
Here with Paul Johnson. And Coach, they came out and threw for nearly 160 yards in the first half on you guys. How does that affect what you're going to do in the second half?
Well, we got to find a way to stop them. They did about what they wanted, but really both teams did, I think. It's one punt and a half. We've got to find a way to run the ball a little better, and we've got to find a way to stop them. If they didn't turn it over, we didn't stop them at all.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you, David. We'll take a look at our first half statistics brought to you by Goodyear. And the number that really jumps out at you, New Mexico. They average 111 yards through the air. They've already got 159 yards through the air through the first 30 minutes. Total yards for the New Mexico Lobos, that adds up to 320 yards. And remember, folks, that the bulk of this game was spent without their best player, Dontrell Moore, playing for them.
Yeah, and it's because both teams on both sides of the football have kind of did things a different way. They've thrown curveballs at each other. They've thrown it at us and everybody else here, so to speak. So it's been a good football game, a good chess match of keeping both football teams off balance.
The weather, we thought it would be a huge factor. Has it been?
You know, it's played a part, but, you know, for the most part, I think both teams have gotten traction. At times you've seen players slip and fall and get beat because of it, but for the most part, the field has held up pretty good.
It's been raining. It's been slippery. It's been windy. But that hasn't stopped anyone so far. The offense has been going whizzing up and down the field to the tune of 43 points in 30 minutes.
It's been a lot, and you know what? I didn't expect it. I thought maybe there would be some early scores in this football game, and then somebody would have to hold on to win it. And, well, it's been just the opposite. It's like, you know, you throw in the guys missing practice for a long period of time, and you expect offenses to struggle. Hadn't been that way at all.
Jeremy McGowan fields the kickoff at the 15-yard line and immediately falls down. So that is where the midshipmen will begin the second half. Let's take a look at our game track, see how we got here. The passing games for both teams has been very surprisingly good.
Yeah, Cole McCamey finding his big tight end there, and then Aaron Polanco comes right back and throws a strike of his own. And when you come in expecting, you know, a bunch of things to happen, all of a sudden Dontrell Moore is out of the football game. You expect a bunch of runs, and it's been an aerial attack from both sides.
Dontrell Moore will not play the rest of this afternoon.
Yeah.
Rocky Long told Dave Revsine right before the half that his afternoon and his season is over. Don't know the extent of the injury, but he will not play the rest of the Emerald Bowl. You know,
we had a chance to sit with him at lunch yesterday and talk to him at length, and there he is right there. But he's just a fine young man, and it's just unfortunate that that's part of this game as injuries occur. And boy, I'm sure hopefully he'll bounce himself back and be ready to go for next season.
Such a special player is Dontrell Moore. Good gain for Kyle Eckel. Dave, what's going on?
Eric, I did just speak with Dontrell Moore, and as you guys said, he's not going to be back. He completely blew out his left knee. He said he was kind of caught off guard by it because when he got hit, he really felt like the biggest pain was in his midsection. It wasn't until he got to the bench that he really felt the pain in his knee. He said it's not really excruciating. He's a little bit surprised at the extent of the injury and obviously extremely disappointed.
Yeah, Andre, what's going through, thank you, David, what's going through his mind right there? He looks like he's okay, but that's a devastating injury.
Well, he's just trying to be there right now to support his football team, and I mean that shows you the character of what type of person Dontrell Moore is to even come back out. And you know, the conditions, the weather's bad, but you know, I can only imagine. You want to be back in there, and now it's the concern is how fast can I get myself back on the football field in terms of am I going to be ready for next season, and hopefully so. Hopefully he'll be able to rehab and get himself strong enough to come back next year.
Never want to put the cart before the horse, but he's one of those special players that has a chance to make money playing the game of football, and a devastating injury is going to make it all the more difficult for him to realize his dreams. So we wish him all the best of luck. He was really a joy to meet in the last couple of days. The Navy midshipmen go 3 and out. Brandon Payne fumbles the punt, picks it up, gets down to the 34-yard line. Well, we talked to Dontrell yesterday, and we asked him why it was important for him to enroll in New Mexico.
One of the most important factors was the proximity to my mom. She's an integral part of my life, always has been. She's the one that introduced football to me in 6th grade. I was a basketball player, and I always thought I was going to be a basketball player. And she asked me if I should, if I wanted to try football, and I wasn't really excited about it. But she, has always encouraged me to be multifaceted and to be able to do a lot of things. And so she introduced it to me, and the rest is history.
Well, nothing like that special relationship that you have with a mother, and he is a special young man. There's no doubt in my mind when you talk about Dontrell that he's going to be successful at whatever he does. I talked to the athletic director Rudy Davalos at length about this young man, and not just a good football player who will have a chance to play on the next level. He'll have a lot of options throughout his life.
You're never too old to not need your mom, and he's going to need his mom over the next couple of months as he tries to rehab. 2nd down and 2 after an 8-yard gain on 1st down. Cole McCamey from the shotgun wants to throw. He was so effective throwing in the first half. That pass is errant. Let's go back down to the field. Dave, what's going on?
Eric, you were talking about the relationship between Dontrell Moore and his mother, Angela. Dontrell's father was in the military, stationed in Roswell, New Mexico, which is where Dontrell is from. He was shipped overseas before Dontrell was born, and he does not even know that Dontrell exists. So real close relationship with Angela. She went back to school to get her teaching certificate when Dontrell was growing up. She's a special ed teacher. The two would compete over grades. She said she wanted Dontrell to go to the military school in Roswell. He wanted to go to Roswell High School. She said, you can go for your freshman year. You can stay if you get a 4.0. He got a 4.2.
Yeah, that's the type of guy he is.
Yeah.
You put a goal in front of him, and he usually attains it. The goal right now is just to get back and help him.
Yeah, and we wish him all the luck. He is a special young man, and you you can be around people that they just kind of rub off on you, and you can just get a positive vibe. He's that type of person.
Cole McCamey gets the 1st down for New Mexico, so they keep the chains moving. 3rd down has been no problem at all for the Lobos. They're now 7 for 7. 3rd down conversions so far today. Really, the only time they've been stopped is when they've turned the ball over.
That's right. They've got that big offensive line going and kind of moving bodies along that front. I think that's going to be the game plan for New Mexico here in the 2nd half.
Handoff goes to Dede Cox, and he's blasted in the backfield. Bobby McLaren came in with a full head of steam, and he greeted him rudely. Yeah,
and the coaches, when you talk to him about Bobby McLaren, they said he loves to hit one of the team's toughest players. And here you see him just sort things out, escape the block, and there. Nice form tackle on the part of Bobby McLaren.
Bobby McLaren, a hero in more ways than one.
Yeah.
Dave Redson will have more on that in a little bit. What do they call it? Tease. 2nd down and 12. New Mexico down by 5 points. McCamey wants to throw. Pass is low, and it gets away from Logan Hall, who had a touchdown back in the 1st half.
Take a look at Navy here defensively. Just been really tough playing the run of New Mexico. And then, right here, just going to play the option inside as well as outside. And they have really stepped up. And you talk about some tough, big-time hits. They have laid it on the line on that defense. Josh Smith there with a big interception in the 1st half. He's played well in a couple of defended passes as well to go along with that. Lane Jackson playing an outstanding football game.
3rd down and 12. And they stop the Lobos on 3rd. Blitz is picked up. McCamey nowhere to go. A flag comes down as McCamey goes down, courtesy of Bobby McLaren.
Yeah, this is going to be holding on Brian Humphreys, the right guard. He's played a fabulous ball game, but he gets mixed up with Bobby McLaren inside, and you could see the hold.
Holding on the offense, number 63. That penalty's declined. Result of the play, it's 4th down.
Yeah, they got the wrong guy, but it was the big right guard. We call it on Cook, but it was Humphreys. He'll talk to him about that once they get themselves over on the sideline. He had a handful of jersey from Bobby McLaren. You'll see it right there. I mean, right there. They're just getting it on in the middle of the formation. The official's right there to see it.
So the punt team will come on for the first time for New Mexico. Tyler Boss will kick it away. Back deep, Jason Tomlinson for the midshipmen. New Mexico stopped on 3rd down for the first time today. Kick is a short one, and it dies at about the 25-yard line. 11:01 remaining, 3rd quarter, just a 26-yard punt. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, everyone, and those are Boats, Japanese restaurant, right here in San Francisco, California. You're a big sushi guy, Andre. You got that good sushi down in Houston.
Every once in a while. I mean, you know, you have to keep yourself slim and trim, and that's a good way to do it. Eat a little sushi.
Handful of diamond nuts and
some sushi. That's it.
Second possession of the second half for the Navy midshipmen. Pitch out goes to Frank Divis. And Divis, who had a big first half. Gain of a couple of yards. Nick Spiegel brings him down. Spiegel, part of a great fraternity of linebackers at New Mexico. Big name is Brian Urlacher. What a tremendous career he had a couple of years ago for the New Mexico Lobos. Actually, he was a defensive back playing for New Mexico, playing the Lobo back position. Brian Urlacher, the highest drafted New Mexico Lobo ever, was picked 9th overall in the 1999 draft. Of course, a perennial Pro Bowler for the Chicago Bears, who have always had wonderful linebackers there amongst the Midwest.
And he was hitting them hard back then. he lays you out now in the NFL, but I mean back then, you see the clips there, just bringing it.
Rocky Long, when he was working with Brian Urlacher, did some wonderful things with Brian Urlacher to kind of just utilize all of his talents. Urlacher returned punts, he returned kickoffs, he was used on offense. His senior year, he caught 7 passes, 6 for touchdowns. So Rocky Long, very innovative with the way he uses his talent. Aaron Polanco keeps it himself, runs for a couple of yards, gain of 5. They're going to call it, bring up 2nd down and 5.
Yeah, and Kyle Eccles started this driver, capped it off by picking up another 1st down. And Polanco there with a huge gain. This is what Navy likes to do offensively. They just kind of grind it out. And talking with Paul Johnson, he says, you know, why do you run the option? He says it gives them the best chance to win with their personnel. And what it also does is the best defense. It keeps the other team's defense or offense off the field.
Polanco under duress, throws deep, has a man incomplete. Eric Roberts, the intended receiver. Pass was there, but Roberts couldn't wrap it up. Josh Bazinet on the coverage.
Yeah, and Eric Roberts is known as their big play receiver. You see Aaron Polanco buying himself some time, showing it in there to Kyle Eccles, and right there, stepping up in the pocket like he's, you know, in a passing offense or something. And then he throws a nice football out there to Eric Roberts. That ball should have been caught. Maybe a little slippery, but you got to bring that one in.
Eric Roberts splits out in the slot. We have a new center in the game for Navy. Marshall Green has come on, replacing James Rossi. And on 3rd down, the center quarterback exchange is good, and Aaron Polanco pulls his way up the middle, a gain of 8 and a 1st down.
Well, we mentioned once again that Kyle Eccles, he gets all the attention on this Navy offense. You show it in, he's going to occupy about 2 or 3 defenders in the middle. You'll see it right here. He's going to occupy 2 or 3 guys. They tackle him. He's getting hit every down, and it frees up plays for other guys like Aaron Polanco to pick up the 1st down.
Little option coming the other way. Frank Divis brought down close to the line of scrimmage. No gain. Nick Spiegel, all Mountain West Conference linebacker on the stop. He's now got 6 tackles.
And he's the leader on their football team. They run the freeze option and show it one way and spin back and come the other. And Frank Davis nowhere to go because the big guy outside, all 6'6", 250 pounds, the freeze option right there, showing it one way. He gets pressure early. Boy, keeping some good outside leverage is Nick Spiegel.
Polanco again wants a bundle, and we're going to have pass interference. Josh Bazinet got a handful of jersey.
Yeah, Eric Roberts once again getting behind the secondary of New Mexico, and he is giving Josh Bazinet all kinds of fits.
Defensive pass interference, number 37. 15 yards to the previous spot. First down.
Yeah, Josh Bazinet he's that Lobo back you talk about, the former walk-on second-team all-conference this year, but you see it right there in your screen. This guy almost tackles him as he's trying to defend, spins him around. And when you do that, the official's going to see it and throw the flag.
I think it's a smart play.
It absolutely was.
Had him beat.
He had him beat. He was behind him, and sometimes you're right. You have to grab some jersey to save a touchdown.
New Mexico now with 7 penalties. Polanco with the carry. Well, tonight at 8 Eastern, it's the Cal Bears. A little bit of anger with the Cal Bears. They thought they were going to the Rose Bowl, but instead, they're playing in the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. They take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Red Raiders, of course, with that wonderful passing game. Coverage begins with the College Game Day Bowl Special, presented by Outback Steakhouse at 7:30 Eastern. It's all a part of Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN and ESPN2. 7:51 remaining, third quarter. Navy with their second possession of the second half. Polanco cuts it in, gets inside the 30, down to the 27, but no more. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 2. Malafashola, the first man to bring him down.
Kyle Eckel tries to throw a block, and Malafashola just plays off of it and is able to get Aaron Polanco on the ground. Fine defensive play. And he's slipping around, and you got a guy like Kyle Eckel trying to kick out on you. He's able to keep his footing and still make a fantastic play.
Possibly 4-down territory for the midshipmen.
Well, I would hinge that it definitely is.
Polanco keeps it himself, and Polanco, open space, touchdown! What a fake by Aaron Polanco.
Yeah, when you show the ball inside, and if they're having any success the way they have been periodically with Kyle Eckel, he is just going to occupy defenders once again. You're going to see it right here. Show it inside. He gets tackled, 2 or 3 guys inside, and then all of a sudden the athleticism right there of Aaron Polanco leaping over defenders to get himself in the end zone.
Polanco now with 3 rushing touchdowns. He's got 16 rushing scores on the year. Stays in the game to hold for Blumenfeld. Extra point. No problem. It's now 31-19. The midshipmen on top of the New Mexico Lobos. What a play by Aaron Polanco. 28 yards for the score. And the Middies now on top by 12. That tells you where we are. We're in the Bay Area, Northern California. Late December in Northern California brings some rain, some fog, some wind, and some cold weather. But besides that, we've had a wonderful football game, a lot of offense. Navy, well, they're making the brigade do a lot of push-ups. They've got 31 points. They're up by 12 on the New Mexico Lobos.
And a lot of football left to be played, so we may be doing a whole lot more push-ups.
Short kickoff taken by Marcus Smith. Flag flies. And we'll get this one sorted out. The Navy midshipmen really haven't skipped too many beats. Paul Johnson's crew, their offense has been borderline spectacular in large part because of their quarterback, Aaron Polanco.
Yeah, he's played an outstanding football game. Basically only put 1 football on the ground. It was a fumble snap between he and his center. But has played a mistake-free football game, and I think that's really been the difference in the ball game of the 2 turnovers for New Mexico. Navy really taking care of the football in some conditions that are not perfect.
Taking a while to get this one situated. Paul Johnson wants to make sure he knows all of his options.
Offsides on the kickoff, number 52. That penalty will be assessed from the end of the run. Then we have a dead ball, personal foul, late hit on number 52. That penalty is 15 more yards, first down.
Navy averages only 4 penalties a game. They just got 2 right there on one play.
Yeah, by one guy, Jacob Biles, a reserve player, and he may get a little talking to over there on the sideline. Paul Johnson and that coaching staff.
So, New Mexico starts out at the Navy 49, their best field position of the day. Cole McCamey in the shotgun. He's already rushed for 100 yards and passed for 100 yards. He's the first player to do so, both of those, since 1997. Graham Lee did it against Brigham Young. But this time he's going backwards. Jeremy Chase gets in the backfield and slings him down for a 2-yard loss.
And Jeremy Chase just kind of chasing from behind. And they moved him to defensive end from linebacker in the fall. He's second on the team with tackles for a loss, and he's going to have another one right there. That's his 11th for the season. And watch him here, just kind of chasing from behind. Right there, slipping in, and then chases the quarterback down from behind. He's a big guy, 250 pounds, playing defensive end.
And he's going to have surgery in a couple of weeks for a torn shoulder.
Wow.
He's playing with a harness on his right shoulder. He's had it for the last couple of games. McCamey will pitch and catch out to the 45-yard line. Gets what they lost and a little bit more, gain of 6. We are here at SBC Park in San Francisco. Capital One Bowl Week continues with the Emerald Bowl, the third playing of the Emerald Bowl. It's the New Mexico Lobos against the Navy Midshipmen. Navy looking for their first 10-win season since 1905. Big story in this game, Dontrell Moore left early in the first quarter, blew out his left knee.
You know what? His teammates have really responded and kind of fought to keep themselves in this football game. Plus yardage situation here on third down.
New Mexico has been wonderful on third down. Short pass complete to Daniel Ramirez. Cole McCamey, he's done a little bit of everything. Running with the football, that's what he does best. That's not much of a surprise. He's already over 100 yards. He's also done well throwing the football. We just saw completion there on third down to keep the chains moving. So a very well-rounded performance by the sophomore from Artesia, New Mexico.
Yeah, and he's a first-year starter and the guy that has really made some plays in this ball game to kind of keep them going offensively with the loss of Dontrell Moore.
They've only been stopped once on 9 third down. First and 10, McCamey. Nothing doing in the middle of the line. Bobby McLaren, another big play for a gain of 0.
Yeah, you go from 2 playmakers or 3 on the outside with Hank Baskett at wide receiver to basically you go from 3 to 2 when you take Dontrell Moore out of the equation, and it's a little bit easier to defend when you don't have all 3 guys to look for. You get just a quarterback and a wide receiver. You make them one-dimensional where they can't run the football. Then you can peel your ears back and come after the quarterback.
Bobby McLaren now with 6 tackles. He's been very steady in the middle of that field for the Navy Midshipmen. Second down and 10. Again, McCamey calls his own number. And McCamey with room down the right side inside the 10-yard line. Big play for McCamey. Gain of 30 yards.
Well, and this is a quarterback run all the way. And you talk about a guy, you got to be impressed with Cole McCamey. He's really stepping up with the absence of Dontrell Moore and taking things on his shoulders as a quarterback. They got him spread out in a 5 wide receiver set. They empty the backfield, and a great job up front of blocking. Terrence Pennington, the right tackle. Brian Humphreys, the right guard. And this is in real time. Look at that speed. We talk about a guy taking it on his shoulders to keep his football team in. That's the quarterback, Eric Cole McCamey.
Looked like Ray Durham with a slide into second base here at SBC Park when the Giants are playing. The baseball Giants, of course. Run inside between the tackles. D.D. Cox picks up a couple. It'll bring up a second down and goal. Josh Smith on the tackle. He's now got 4 tackles. He's the captain of the defense.
You know, the way the time's running now, we're just above, just under 4 minutes left here in the third quarter. It's almost like New Mexico, they have to get the football in the end zone. Down by 12 in this game. Every possession in the football game for both teams becomes critical at this point, at this stage in the game.
Offense hasn't been the problem for the Lobos.
No.
The problem has been stopping the midget. D.D. Cox, nothing doing in the middle of the line. Jeremy Chase, first man there.
Well, D.D. Cox seems like he's just kind of feeling his way in there as opposed to hitting it. When you get down close to the goal line like that, everybody's crowded to the line of scrimmage. You tighten the formation down a little bit. You get a downhill run like that. You look to give the contact and not receive it. Kind of tipping in there a little bit. Get those shoulder pads over your feet and get going downhill.
Well, now comes the favorite down for the Lobos. It's third down. They're 8 out of 9 on third down so far, including 3 touchdowns on third down. Will the beat continue? The give, Rodney Ferguson. Knocking on the door, but the door will not be answered. He's stopped at the 1-yard line. Decision time for the Lobos.
I think he's going to play this as 4-down territory, maybe go for it here. They spread them out, and you run the football, and I think when you do that, you're already in the mindset that we're going to go for it on 4th down. He's certainly not checking the kicking game in at this point. Rocky Long we're talking about, so we'll have the 4th and goal situation here. A bunch of excitement to go along with it.
D.D. Cox takes back into the game.
This is what it's all about right here. It's man on man and who can get lower, who can get some push. And this is football at its finest.
D.D. Cox, the sole setback behind McCamey. Let's see if McCamey keeps it himself. Handoff goes to Cox. And Cox. No signal yet.
I think they kept him out of the end zone.
He didn't get there.
No, he did not get there. And at some point, you got to turn it up. And he just kind of kept stretching it towards the sideline.
Vaughn Kelly and Josh Smith combined to push him out of bounds inside the 1. D.D. Cox with a chance for 6. But the 6 goes by the wayside. Vaughn Kelly and Josh Smith with some 1-2.
The 2004 Emerald Bowl, brought to you by Citi, proud sponsor of the 2005 Rose Bowl, New Year's Day on ABC. And DiGiorno. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Chinatown, San Francisco, an electric atmosphere at all times. Get a good meal, enjoy yourself, wonderful culture. One of the many things that San Francisco brings to the table, and Dontrell Moore right now is saying to himself, I wish I was out there.
Yeah, and they miss him in situations like the last goal line, the 4th and goal on the 1-yard line. That's where they miss a guy like Dontrell.
Aaron Polanco just trying to get it away from his own goal line.
Let's go back and look at the play on the goal line situation here with D.D. Cox right about here. He's got Bobby McLaren off balance, and there's the cutback lane right there. You got to hit it going full speed. I got to feel like had he cut it back right there, Eric, he falls into the end zone because Bobby McLaren, like I mentioned, is off balance. He can't make the tackle. The momentum would have carried D.D. Cox into the end zone. Navy, to their credit, they're able to string it out a little bit longer, keep him from getting in.
Polanco carries out across the 5, maybe to the 6. They'll bring up a 3rd down and 5. Oliver Shola on the tackle. And Andre, this is going to be a big play. It hurts for New Mexico not to get in the end zone. Yeah. But if they can stop them here, get a 3-and-out, force them to punt, all wouldn't be lost because they'd get the football back and not too much time to get off. And they'd have great field, if you'd imagine.
Yeah, you're right. And you start in this, we mentioned it earlier. The time is against New Mexico in terms of when you get scoring opportunities, you have to put points on the board. This is a down and distance here where you know Navy's going to start to chew and eat on this clock.
Polanco drops back. Flag flies. Man is wide open and he can't hit him. Frank Divis had no one in between he and the end zone, but the pass was too long. That'll bring up a 4th down, but we do have a penalty.
Yeah, we got to wait and see what this is. It may be in the area of holding. Offsides.
Offsides on the defense, number 94, lining up in the neutral zone. The 5-yard penalty makes it a 1st down.
That has just got to chap Rocky Long.
You're talking about hurting your football team. This is, you know, you can live with penalties as a head coach, or a coach can live with it if they're penalties where the football's already in motion. When you're committing pass interference penalties or things of that sort. But when they say he's lined up right here, offsides, when you line up that way, those are the ones that hurt. Holding penalties, they're going to happen. Boy, false starts and lining up in the neutral zone, those are the ones that drive coaches crazy.
So a fresh set of downs for Aaron Polanco in the midshipman, and a good gainer on 1st down. Gain of 9.
And you start to see Navy take advantage of a golden opportunity there awarded by this New Mexico defense.
That'll do it for the 3rd quarter of play. Paul Johnson claps his hands. He knows his team is 15 minutes away from their first 10-win season since 1905. Everything is going right for Polanco and the midshipmen.
Dave Repson back in. As we go to the 4th quarter, much to the delight of the brigade that has shown up here, about 1,500 members of the Navy student body here, part of a crowd of 16,300 tickets sold from the Naval Academy. Just to put that in perspective, the other 5 schools, including New Mexico, all time that have played in the Emerald Bowl, sold a total combined of about 16,000. In terms of the non-BCS bowl games, only Texas A&M and North Carolina, both playing in their home state, sold more tickets through the school than Navy did.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. When you talk about what Navy brings to the table, they have so much to offer. Finish up that after this play. 2nd down and 1. Polanco may have gotten that one, but he had to pay the price. He was hit hard by Fola Pachola. Navy, they bring so much to the table. They have a national following. They're a very good team. They travel well. That's the big kind of term you use around bowl season. They have fans that follow them, and plus they have the pageantry. Look at this. You see so many people. You got the uniforms. You got the tradition. It's an event with Navy football.
Yeah, anytime they have a winning season, they are definitely going to have an opportunity to go to a bowl game, and that's why it's so important to get things back and get the ship righted, so to speak, for Navy. Paul Johnson has done a fabulous job in that department.
The ship is not only it's smooth sailing right now.
Right now it
is.
is.
The Navy midshipman with Paul Johnson at the helm. He's been spectacular since he took over after having spectacular success at Georgia Southern, winning 2 1AA championships in 6 years with Georgia Southern.
I talked to him yesterday. I told him, I said, Coach, you remind me a lot of my high school coach, Dub Ferris, because he just makes comments like Dub Ferris used to make. He said, you know, if I'm not yelling at you, then I don't care anymore. And, he, you know, he gets all over his players, and that's exactly what Dub Ferris used to tell me all the time. I'd approach him, and he'd wonder, why you wonder why I'm always climbing all over you. And I said, yeah, and he tells me, you know, it's because I care. And Paul Johnson is kind of cut from that same mold. The guy just knows how to win football games. He's brought intensity and a winning attitude to Navy. His favorite saying, though, is don't tell me why we can't get it done. Tell me why we can get it done. And that's the approach he's taken at the Naval Academy.
There are 39 seniors who began their collegiate career not playing for Paul Johnson. Yeah. It was Charlie Weatherby, who was the head coach here prior to Paul Johnson. And they weren't winning football games. They won just one game in 2000 and 2001, one game combined. They suffered through a lot of difficult times, but things have really changed under Paul Johnson.
I'll tell you how important he is, and his 5-year involvement with this Navy program, both as a coordinator and as a head coach, 55% winning percentage. In the 20 years span without him, the 15 years without him, just 25% of the games won. That's how important Paul Johnson is to this Naval Academy program.
He is playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers.
You're way ahead of everybody. And a couple of moves to go with it.
Third down and inches. Let's see if they give it to the big fella. Kyle Eckel. You'd imagine he wants the football here. But Polanco keeps it himself, and Polanco's going to have enough for a first down. Well, we talked to Josh Smith, one of the senior captains for Navy, about how life has changed under head man Paul Johnson.
When new coaches came in, the new atmosphere they brought with them, because they had cutthroat attitude and they weren't going to take anything less than your best. So, and when you didn't give your best, they let you know. I mean, they're in your face, they're screaming at you. And, I mean, they're still like that. I mean, that's the type of coaches you need. I mean, you have somebody on top of you making you work your hardest, and it's going to make you a better player, and all in all, get the team a better team.
On first down, Aaron Polanco throws it into traffic. Dangerous play. Looking for Eric Roberts, streaking down the field. Pass nowhere near to being completed.
And this may be holding again.
Kevin Walton?
On Eric Roberts, maybe one of the defenders in the secondary for New Mexico again. Kevin Walton
has been issued a sideline warning. That's their first one. There's no penalty administration.
It came right in that area where both the receiver and a couple of defenders for New Mexico were operating. Here, Aaron Polanco just trying to get rid of the football. He just got to pick a little better, a little smarter spot to throw it away. Out of bounds. Once you get outside that tackle box, is a nice place for the football.
New Mexico has issued a sideline warning. Kind of an interesting scenario they got here at SBC Park. Gibbs goes to Eric Roberts, another flag. Both teams are on the same sideline. It's just the way the configuration, moving from a baseball ballpark to a football configuration. Both teams have to be on the same sideline, and that makes it difficult sometimes for guys to get on the field and off the field.
You know, last time I had the opportunity to see that, I was part of the situation in Detroit when I was playing there, and we played the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay in the old county stadium. Both teams would line up or be on the same sideline. I hadn't seen it in a long time.
An illegal shift is called on the Navy midshipmen, and that's going to move them back 5 yards. Down remains second down.
Yeah, they continue to eat this clock away.
Underneath 13 minutes remaining in the third Emerald Bowl. Polanco, some shifty moves. Man coming from behind, and he finally gets him, but not before a good gain for Polanco. He picks up 10 yards. Kershawn Harris had him in his sights, but he just couldn't track him down quickly enough to stop the big gainer.
Well, you know, I talked to Paul Johnson about Aaron Polanco, and he said he's just a guy who is hard to rattle. He says he's a streaky passer, but he's hard to rattle. You talk about guys around him. This is the example right here. He's got defenders around his legs, grabbing at his shoulder pads. He never panics and comes out the backside. Now, from second down and long, he's got it to third down in a manageable situation where they can try to pick this first down up here. Fabulous job on the play of keeping his composure by Aaron Polanco.
Both quarterbacks over 100 yards rushing. Polanco on third down has a man close to the first down marker. Marco Nelson with the diving catch. It'll be interesting to see whether or not this is good enough for first down yards. It's going to be awfully close.
Yeah, when you have a guy like Polanco, that kind of mentality, tough both mentally and physically, he'll take a pound and he'll stand in there. For this type of offense, it gives them a chance to be successful because it's got to start there at the quarterback position. The next most important position is that fullback. Well, this is tough. Well, maybe he got his hands under that one. Certainly with the roll, it's hard for the officials to decide whether it's a catch or a missed opportunity.
Kyle Eckel, just a pile driver, spins out for a good gain on first down, gain of 7. I'm not totally convinced that pass was caught by Marco Nelson. Yeah, it looked like the ground may have played a role, but no.
There's a couple of things that the officials didn't see. You know, maybe the field goal attempt here. Right there, it's a catch, and then the ground may have helped keep it in. But with the roll, he shielded it from the officials. So the chains move on.
Eckel trying to ferret out some room. Picks up a couple and bring a third down and short.
This is where it gets frustrating for New Mexico or a defensive team that's playing against Navy, because they start to have success on the inside with Kyle Eckel and Aaron Polanco, and then all of a sudden you get him in a third down and long situation. He's able to, you know, roll back or set up and throw a pass for a completion and move the chains. Boy, you get them doing what they like to do, and that's the inside run with that fullback. It makes for a long, long football game.
This is the type of drive that if you're a defender for New Mexico, it just tears your guts out.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're just lining up, coming right at you. New Mexico, they're not bad on defense. Look at that rush defense, 8th in the country, only allowing 93 yards a game, and tonight giving up 232, and Navy's like right on schedule for their per game average.
Navy 3rd in the country in rushing, trailing only Rice and Texas, the Longhorns and the Rice Owls. Well, Friday, Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN highlights 4 wonderful quarterbacks, guys who get it done in every way imaginable. First at 3:30 Eastern in the AutoZone Livery Bowl, it is Jared Zabransky and the Boise State Broncos taking on Stephon LaForce and the Louisville Cardinals. Immediately, well, 7:30 Eastern time, it is former Gator Brock Berlin and the Miami Hurricanes taking on Chris Leak and the Florida Gators. A lot of wonderful, talented quarterbacks playing tomorrow afternoon and evening.
Yeah, those two, Jared Zabransky and Stephon LaForce, I've got to see that football game. I'm looking, when those bowl matchups came out, and that one with Boise State and Louisville, and they hooked those two up together, that's going to be an offensive show. And a lot of fireworks in that one, and I can't wait to see Dan Hawkins and his football team. I mean, we got a chance to do them there in Boise, and I was thoroughly impressed with the way he runs his football program.
3rd down and 5. That Chipman need to get to the 36-yard line. Remember, this drive started on their own 1. Polanco again keeps it himself, and Polanco gets the first down. The chains move, and after a free pickup, the clock will continue to run.
You know, and it's not pitching on the outside, and you know, you see the option and you think, okay, we're going to shut down the fullback. It's been right in the middle, the teeth of New Mexico's defense. You see it right here. He's going to show it to the fullback. 2 or 3 guys occupy him, and Polanco's right up the middle of the field. No delay, not trying to get outside. They're going right up the middle with the football.
Eckel, another carry. Are you surprised they're not using more clock on the play clock? That play ran it within 50
running.
seconds.
It's running. I mean, you know, you don't want to get too protective because it takes you out of rhythm when you still have a lot of time left on the clock. You want to just kind of keep things moving. You're moving the football, which is what you want to do, and it's going to eat up enough clock. Navy has been outstanding in terms of clock management and what they're doing. I don't think so. I don't think you start running it down yet, because you don't want to get out of sync with your offense.
Already 6 first downs on this drive. Eric Roberts gets the pitch, and Roberts skips across the 30-yard line. Elroy Thompson brings him down to bring up 3rd down and short.
And Paul Johnson just continues to impress. I mean, we sit here and we talk about Kyle Eckel up the middle and Polanco following him in there, going right up. And what does he do? Throws us a curveball again and gets Eric Roberts out on the outside on just a straight pitch. They motion him in, pitch it to him, and try to take advantage of his speed and getting to the corner.
This drive is toxic if you're a Lobo
Unreal.
defender.
17 plays, 69 yards, and counting.
And the big number right there is the time. Over 9 minutes had been chewed up by the midshipmen. 3rd and 4. Lobos need a stop. They trail by 12. Eckel has the football, and he'll be short of 1st down yards. Takes a while to get him down, but it's going to bring up a 4th down and 1, maybe 2.
I can guarantee you one thing. This may be 4-down territory for Paul Johnson and his football team. We mentioned the fact just 4 out of 11 on the season for Jeff Blumenfeld, their field goal kicker, and he's missed 4 extra points to go along with that. So, you know, I got to feel like this is 4-down territory. It gives them an opportunity as well to kind of eat some more of this clock.
And their kicker, Blumenfeld, his longest kick on the year is a 30-yarder.
Yep.
This would be a Herculean effort if he was going to try that one.
You know,
It'd be a 44-yarder.
In warm-ups, he was kicking the ball fine. I mean, it was sprinkling a little bit, and he was booming the football. I don't know what the problem is, but you know, he's certainly got a lot of leg strength.
And Navy is going to call timeout.
They heard you. They ran the play clock down.
They let the play clock go down to 1 second, and they call timeout. They're going to diagram a fourth down play. We'll be back and see what it is. One of the San Francisco treat has been the Emerald Bowl. This is the third year they've played the Emerald Bowl, and we've had a very good, closely contested game. The Navy midshipmen and all their pageantry on top of the New Mexico Lobos. It's a 4th down and 3, and Navy is going to go for it.
I expected nothing less. It gives them an opportunity to really stamp this football game and assert themselves. It keeps the clock moving. And New Mexico is in trouble if they give it up on 4th down here.
Pitch out to Divots. He wants to throw. Polanco again. He's open and he makes the play. That's the second time we've seen the slot back pass, and it has worked both times.
Well, you know, there's an old saying that you run it until they stop it. Well, 2 times we've seen this play, and both times it's gone for a 1st down. And that man right there, just a genius in terms of calling plays. See it right here, Frank Divots, and then throwing back. Don't hang it up there too long. Get your quarterback hit too hard. Give him an opportunity to run with it after the catch. But just amazing in terms of play calling, busting them up the middle, working the edges, and then throwing a little trickery in there to go with it.
Aaron Polanco, he's been a renaissance man on the football field. Fingers in a lot of different pies. They catching the ball, throwing the ball well, and running the ball just sensational. Look at those numbers for Polanco. The stat sheet is stuck.
Yeah, they don't throw it a bunch. Only 6 passes in the football game, but over 100 yards, 1 touchdown there. 26 rushes, 136 yards. I mean, and look at that, 2 receptions for 23 yards, and both of them have gone for 1st downs. And you know what? And it's been on about the same portion of the field. Down here, you know, on the other end of the field, about the same yard line. And then they come back and run it again on 4th down.
Rumor has it he drove the bus here from the hotel.
Made the coffee and all that this morning, huh?
The play that got this all started.
And it was a defensive play by the Navy defense right here, stringing out D.D. Cox. And that's where they miss a guy like Dontrell Moore. In terms of cutback ability and you know, showing a little bit of power when you need it. Inexperience shows up a little bit in that situation, and Navy just fabulous in terms of turning them away, and they've taken it from about their 1 and just driven it, and has basically eaten up this 4th quarter.
This drive began in the 3rd quarter. We switched fields. Nothing stopped the Navy midshipmen. Coming up on a 12-minute drive.
Yeah.
Timeout is called. The Navy midshipmen again just trying to regroup. And the looks are getting a little bit long for the New Mexico Lobos. The Navy Bowl week, the Emerald Bowl, has been closely contested here at SBC Park in San Francisco. Alongside Andre Ware, with Dave Bretson, I'm Eric Collins. Coming up next, college basketball. The Gonzaga Bulldogs taking on the Missouri Tigers. This drive has been something to write home about. This drive has been absolutely mind-blowing. 3rd down and 4. It began inside the 1-yard line. Polanco on the edge. Pitch out. Divots has it. Stays in bounds. And he's inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, and at some point, New Mexico, they're sitting there with 3 timeouts. You got to start thinking about maybe taking them here, because Navy just eating up all kinds of time. First, you get a focus on maybe stopping them in this drive, but boy, this is tough. They've got 3 timeouts in New Mexico. At some point, you got to start taking them.
I think the horse may already be out the barn here.
Well, they're saddling him up. I promise you that. Walking him around, getting him ready to run.
22 plays.
Unbelievable.
On this drive, over 12 minutes. Our stat guy, Ethan Cooperson's got his nose in the record books. This is a historic drive for the Navy midshipmen. Eckel, so strong, up the middle. Stopped by Mike Mahorek.
You know, it takes a commitment to what you do offensively to have a 23-play drive. It takes a lot of discipline on the part of the players not to jump off sides. And they've really overcome a couple of penalties on this drive, but they have they've hung in there, fought and scratched, and that man has caused some outstanding plays all throughout this football game. He has kept New Mexico on their heels the entire game long on defense, and it has really shown up. And you see right there, they are in it together and trying to cap off a magnificent drive.
2nd down and 3. Polanco, the give. Roberts, oh my. Brought down with some anger. Kyle Coulter brings him down. Andre, we shouldn't forget, this drive, when it began, New Mexico had them bottle up. It was 3rd down and 5. Looked like they stopped him, but a man was offside. Continued the drive, and geez, 19 plays later, they've got it all the way down to the 4-yard line.
You know, it was something. It's the holiday season. New Mexico, they gift wrapped an offsides penalty, and Navy's taking advantage of it. They didn't try taking it back. You know, they didn't want to return it to the store. They took advantage of it, and now you see they're reaping the benefits.
Kyle Eckel again stopped by Kyle Coulter, and it's going to bring up a 4th down. Now, timeout is called by the New Mexico Lobos. 4th down and goal. What will Navy do? We'll take a timeout and find out.
Emerald Bowl, brought to you by Emerald Nuts. 14 delicious, nutritious, premium snack nut products. And City, proud sponsor of the 2005 Rose Bowl, New Year's Day on ABC.
London fog has got nothing on San Francisco fog. That's the Golden Gate Bridge. You can't see the other side because of the fog and the mist. It has been cold and damp, but that hasn't stopped the Navy midshipmen. They have been mutters on this muddy day. They just capped off a 14-minute, 26-second drive with a field goal to go up by 15 points. And here comes Kevin Walton with a wonderful kickoff return out to the 50-yard line. The only man back to stop him, the kicker, Jeff Blumenfeld. And if you counted out the Lobos, maybe you did it a little bit too quickly.
Yeah, don't close the door on them yet. Here, just fielding the football and following a nice block by Marcus Smith. And all of a sudden, he's off to the races. Kelvin Walton, one defender away from making a house call.
Time is scarce for the Lobos of New Mexico. They need a score, a couple of them. McCamey, pass complete to his tight end, Augustinian. Stays in bounds.
Well, good job by Bobby McLaren of keeping him in bounds on that tackle. Look at this drive, though, by Paul Johnson and his Navy football team. 26 plays, 94 yards, and there's the kicker right there. 14-minute, 26 seconds. Unbelievable.
That's the way to close out a game. Pass over the middle, complete to Baskett. Baskett with room. Baskett to the 20-yard line. This is not the way that Navy wanted to get things rolling here on defense against McCamey and the Lobos.
They're going to add some more because Cole McCamey, they're going to call a roughing the passer, and they're going to get a little bit more. A couple of extra yards here, 15 extra.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 40 on the defense, floated ahead, half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Mistake by the sophomore, David Mahoney. So 15 yards.
I don't know. That one right there is kind of touchy. He's trying to pull up. Even that's coming from an old quarterback.
It's not 15 yards. It's actually half the distance to the goal.
Yeah.
Clock continues to run. Minute and a half remaining. McCamey gets out of the pocket and slips down at the 15.
He's got to get his team up, get them set. Not a whole lot of time left. They still got still have 2 timeouts to work with, but he's got to get a play called and run here in a hurry. A lot of valuable time ticking down.
Rain is coming down, probably the hardest it has all afternoon long. McCamey to the end zone, has basket, out of bounds. Hunter Reddick on the coverage, he tipped it, but Basket still able to make the catch, but he was out of bounds.
Boy, here you see him scan the field from one side to the other, little short roll, it's not there, going backside to the corner route. Boy, he is lucky that Hunter Reddick did not pick this football off. He's made a couple of pretty good plays down in the corner of that end zone. The deflected one away earlier in the football game, and then that one right there.
Down by 15, New Mexico still has a chance. They need 2 scores and a 2-point conversion. Movement on the line, flags fly.
False start on the offense, number 69. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 3rd down.
Coming up shortly at 8 o'clock Eastern, it's the Cal Bears taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Texas Tech, of course, the #1 passing attack in the country. It's the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Crowd getting into it here. It's a crowd in excess of 30,000. McCamey with time. Time runs out. Bobby McLaren gets him loose ball. And the Navy midshipmen jump on top of him.
Boy, what an effort on the part of Bobby McLaren. He drops back into coverage, and then he starts to rush towards the passer, Cole McCamey, and the 2 guys try to block him, and he's able to get there. Not only does he get there, he causes the fumble.
The ship may have sailed on the New Mexico Lobos. The midshipmen up by 15 with the ball, 50 seconds remaining. What a play by Bobby. He was basically all over the field.
He really was. I mean, he drops back 15 tackles today, 7 solo tackles, but this is the best one of the day. You see him here, comes on a run blitz, he gets picked off there. All of a sudden, he's occupied by 2 guys, still able to get to the quarterback, not only gets there, and then I'm going to cause the fumble. Oh, my goodness, what a play on the part of Bobby McLaren.
They're going to say that the quarterback, McCamey, was down. So New Mexico keeps the ball, but not for long. That was a 4th down and long play, and they do not get it. Bobby McLaren in on that stop, along with another senior, Josh Smith.
Well, you have to be impressed with the adjustments that Navy has made both on offense and defense. New Mexico takes the opening drive, they go right down, they get points, and then to come back and have themselves in a position to win this football game, they made some adjustments on both sides of the football, and you know, you have to be impressed with the job that Paul Johnson has done.
New Mexico can stop the stop the clock one more time, and then this game will be over. Aaron Polanco just takes a knee, and New Mexico they're not going to call timeout. Our Capital One player of the game, Aaron Polanco, the senior captain from Weatherby, Texas. He was sensational, accounting for 4 touchdowns, 3 running, 1 passing, 237 total yards. He was as advertised and then some.
And what a way to finish as a senior quarterback on this football team. And there's the man right there that has really resurrected this Navy football program. Paul Johnson, an outstanding job, a well-coached football game here today.
So the Navy midshipmen are the 2004 Emerald Bowl champions. They have their first 10-win season in 99 seasons. Just 3 years ago, the Navy midshipmen, they were winless. But Paul Johnson, Aaron Polanco, Kyle Eckel, they have righted the ship, and now it's smooth sailing as they have this program back on the map. This bowl win, an exclamation point on a wonderful season.
Yeah, you talk about Paul Johnson. Talking with him, he said he came to Navy because it was an opportunity to make a difference. They needed him, and he needed them. He needed a new challenge. He felt like he had done all he could do at Georgia Southern, and boy, he is doing something special here at the Navy Academy.
Navy finishes off the campaign, 10 wins, just 2 losses. It's their first bowl win since winning the Aloha Bowl in 1996. Let's go back down to the field and Dave Rebson. Dave.
Eric, thanks a lot. I am here with Paul Johnson. Coach, congratulations on a great win. You came here the 2 years before you got here.
You know, it looked like it
means something.